Hello again, welcome back to Asgard, and welcome back to Modern Skyblocks 2. So, I've gotten most all of the snow cleaned up. You may occasionally see a couple small patches because I've noticed that a little bit of snow makes its way through before the Terra Bozu shuts off the snow. But for the most part, I mean, it's running great. It's just, there's like a split second where some snow can fall. I may eventually do a rain shield if it starts to annoy me, but right now I don't mind it because it's kind of like you go outside and you have to shovel a little bit of snow to keep it cleared off, but it's not just mass amounts of snow everywhere. So it doesn't bother me too much. Now, since last episode, the main thing I've done is I've done a little bit of organizing and moving some things upstairs, and actually got our machines moved over. By the way, if you want to move the Tech Reborn machines, I don't have it on me, I put it in the chest, but you need just one of these wrenches from Tech Reborn. It does require some bronze. But then shift right click and you can pull the machines up and move them without breaking them and getting machine blocks back. So anyways, I got all these moved over, and I've got our compressor making some steel plates, so let's go ahead and grab those. I did upgrade to these. These are second cables from Solar Flux Reborn. If you take a look here, there's 3 different tiers of these cables. So first up you have the first cable. It's 320 RF per tick. Transfer, and then you have second cable, which is 3,200 RF per tick, and then you have 320,000 RF per tick. So the last cable is a fairly powerful cable. First cable is very cheap, glass and redstone. Second cable is iron and redstone, and then third one is glowstone, eyes of ender, blocks of diamond for 2 of those. So the rest of these are 6 at a time. So second cable seems to be a fairly good place to be. That's way more power than I'm generating, so we'll be set for a while. And then I went ahead and moved our Cactus Drawer over from down there and emptied it out into the system. So right over there's a Cactus Drawer that's connected into the system, and this is kind of like a buffer drawer is what this is. I'll probably end up sticking a void upgrade on it so that it can trash any excess cactus that it gets. But today I want to do a bit of automation, and we get to kind of start our factorization stuff for this stage of Modern Skyblocks. So our lives will be getting a lot easier as the episodes progress onwards. So I was debating if I wanted to start Tinker's Tools first or get this up and going first, and I think I want to get this up and going first, but we'll have plenty of time to get into Tinker's after that. So the first thing we are going to need to get is some auto crafting, okay? And that's because with this cactus, of course, I want to store cactus, right? Just so that we always have a drawer filled with cactus in case we need it for, say, cactus soup, for example. Some things in cactus dye, like green dye, just little odds and ends like that. But then in addition, I would like to have it broken down into cactus fruit, which of course is the cutting knife. So we're going to have to automate the creation of cutting knives, and then automate the creation of cutting that cactus down into cactus fruit. I'm not going to store cactus fruit, though, I will say that, because there's no, looking through here, I mean, there's not really a whole lot of uses for cactus fruit. We can make cactus fruit on a needle, which just makes acacia saplings, and then there's also, of course, plant matter. That's what we're going to be automating. Plant matter I am going to store, as well as charcoal I'm going to store, and of course charcoal I'm going to use as power sources and stuff like that across the base for right now. But cactus fruit makes coarse dirt. We don't really have a whole lot of uses for coarse dirt, since we have standard dirt, and if we do run into that, that's a special case, and I'll deal with that. And then other than that, it's really just the culinary generator. So it makes a bit of RF very slowly, 24 RF per tick, whereas if you look at the charcoal that we're using, 16,000 RF, 40 RF per tick over 20 seconds. So much more effective doing that over the culinary generator, I feel like. So we're going to have to automate a few steps with this. So what we're going to do, we have basically 3 crafting steps, right? Like we need to make knives, we need to make cactus fruit, and we need to make plant matter. And so what we're going to do is we are going to get some auto crafting. And we are going to want 2 mechanical crafters for this setup and 1 analog crafter, which does require a structured crafter. And I'll get into the analog crafter. We'll go over that in just a minute. Actually, I guess technically the mechanical crafter is just a more expensive analog crafter. What's weird is the analog crafter I would think would be more expensive because it has way more features than the mechanical crafter. So I'm not really sure why it's cheaper, but yeah, we'll just go with analog crafters then. We'll just go with 3 of those and be done with it. So first up, we're going to need some wooden plates. These are just wooden planks ran through a compressor. So let me grab just a bit of wooden planks. And I tell you what, instead of getting wood from up here, I'm gonna pop downstairs real quick because I've got like stacks of slabs, acacia slabs. So I can turn those back into wooden plank blocks and then just run those instead of using, I guess, good wood. So I'm just gonna throw like a stack of wood in there, and we'll eventually use the planks, the plank blocks for something, I'm sure. One thing I do want to show you guys, because I moved the compressor setup, right? So of course I wasn't able to use the Draconic Evolution place block feature. Let me just grab like a stack of this flint. That's fine. So I did make one of these quick droppers from Sky Resources 2, and so basically what I can do is I can just throw in like a stack of flint, and then of course the combustion collector is going to grab it. And there we go. A stack of flint becomes 3 stacks of gunpowder. So I would say that's probably the easiest way to get gunpowder at the moment. Alright, so anyways, that stuff's crafting. We're also going to need some structured crafters. These work a bit different. Personally, I like the analog crafters and the mechanical crafters a bit more than the structured crafters. They're a little bit more compact. So I'm just going to skip through the structured crafter because it's not very much more expensive to upgrade to analog. So for this, we're going to need just some iron crafting tables, cobblestone, and some sticks. So structured crafters, there we go. 3 of those. And then next up, storage filter modules, just a little bit of redstone, some paper, some iron, and some hoppers. And I've actually got 2 hoppers right here. So 3 storage filter modules. And then lastly, we need colossal chest walls. That's just wood with those wooden plates. So let me go see if those are done. I imagine they are. We've got 14 so far, so I can't wait till we can get overclocker upgrades, but they're a little bit beyond where we're at because it looks like you have to have an iron bucket to craft those, because I was looking at those earlier and I was like, oh man. So we are going to have to wait just a little bit longer on getting overclockers for our Tech Reborn stuff, but that's fine. Okay, so we did get our first analog crafter, so I'm going to go ahead and just grab that one. And we're going to set up a quick recipe here. And it will be somewhat semi-automated at the moment. And that's just due to the fact that we don't technically have diamonds and wood automatically coming in. Now granted, you could use iron. You could even use, let's see, there's a cactus cutting knife. But we can't really automate these because any blocks placed next to the cactus will break the cactus. We can't automate it at the current moment anyways. So iron and diamond is our current options, and I'm going to go with diamond because diamond's really not hard to get. Like, it's not really difficult at all. And pretty soon it'll be, you know, pretty well fully automated. So I'm not going to be skimpy with the diamonds. And what we're going to do is we'll just set up our analog crafter. We'll have the analog crafter just sitting right here. It doesn't need power or anything like that. I am going to set it to sticky, keep at least 1 item in each slot. It does not apply to items that do not stack. We're going to say yes, keep it on sticky, always on. And really for this one, we're not going to need all this stuff for this first one. And I tell you what, let me get, I guess I'm going to get another hopper. That way I can like pre-fill it with a bunch of materials. And so I can go up there and say throw a bunch of sticks and diamonds in there. And it's basically going to filter itself because it will always just have those 2 slots. So then what we're going to do is we're going to go through and say that all these slots here are disabled. So it only has, oh no, wait, this is wrong thing. Ignore me. I was thinking we were doing the cutting. Let's see. Yeah, we just want those 5 slots. And so what we're going to do is we're going to set up a recipe here and say that that and that is your recipe. So there we go. And then what we can do is we can just put our hopper on top. And so if I come up here and I have, say, a bunch of materials on me, sticks and diamonds and stuff like that, I can throw them into here. And you'll notice they're going to get pumped into this. Oh, I'm going to say spread items, sorry. I am going to say that. Because that way it spreads them. Instead of just filling in 1 slot, it's going to spread them across all available slots that have, say, sticks or all the ones that have diamonds. So you can see right there it just crafted a diamond cutting knife for us. Awesome. And then, of course, I could filter items from this, and we will later on. We'll filter items from our storage system into this, sticks and diamonds, and it's going to keep that filled and available to craft diamond cutting knives. But I will say that diamond cutting knives last, from what I noticed when I was testing, I hadn't used them personally when I was cutting down stuff for plant matter, But those diamond cutting knives do last a very long time. Alright, so that part's done. We're crafting diamond cutting knives and all's good. Then next up, what I want to do is let's get some more of these wooden plates. And we'll go ahead and get the rest of our colossal chest walls. And then our analog crafters. Which they don't stack because it has that RF Tools storage module there. And then let's also get a transfer node. We will be using some other piping systems this episode, but for this part right here, a transfer node will work perfectly. And one other thing that I do want to go ahead and grab, oh look, it's snowing. Yeah, it's not snowing. Is a controller slave. Because I do want some place where the items can get pumped into. You know, if there's overflow or whatever, it'll be able to send items to this controller slave. So I'm just going to put it up here, and it'll be connected into the drawer system. So we'll use that in, you can see there's everything that it has access to. Well, probably not everything, but there's as much as will fit into that display. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to take and connect our diamond cutting knife line, and we'll just put down a transfer node. That's fine, and you can see it's got the diamond cutting knife, and this one has made another one. And then we're going to set our next analog crafter just right here. And this one we're going to take and say that, let's see, that is the north side. So let me go ahead and say that all of these slots are disabled. It can only accept items into these two slots. And then I want to say that this first slot is only accessible from the north. Okay? And this side is only accessible from the east. So there we go. And then if I was to connect up this transfer pipe, you can see that the only thing it's getting in here is a diamond cutting knife. It's not filling items into this slot, which is what we want to see. And then we're going to make some new item transfer because, like, this is fine. The only place that I want diamond cutting knives to go is just straight into this analog crafter. However, Cactus, if there's space in this drawer system, I want it to be able to send Cactus from this drawer over to that, in addition to sending it to the analog crafter. So what we're going to do is we're going to upgrade to item ducts for this. And these things are fairly cheap, just some tin and some lead to make 6 of them. So let's go ahead and get like 18 will be fine. And then in addition, we're going to need some servos for extraction. See, we shouldn't need any filters, so that's not going to be a problem. Since we're not using mechanical crafters, we're using only analog crafters, which is weird that because mechanical crafters you would need a filter for them, because the way they're set up, and they share the same inventory for their crafting and their exporting, like their input and their export, and they're so weird to use in comparison to the analog crafter where it's so much better. I love it. Servo is just iron, redstone, iron nuggets. I think I'm just going to go ahead and make like 3. That'll be fine. I may actually have to make some more iron in just a second, because I've been steadily running out, especially after making a bunch of steel between episodes, or setting it up to make a bunch of steel. I've been steadily running down on that stuff. And what we're going to do is we're just going to plug in our item duct right here, and then just attach our servo, and we're going to say that you ignore redstone control. And there we go. Now it's starting to get Cactus into there, and it's starting to cut it down into Cactus Fruit. Now, of course, Cactus Fruit, we are not going to send it into the drawer system because there's really no point in us storing that, I don't feel like. So then the next thing I want to do is just set up another analog crafter right here. And let's go ahead and just grab a little bit of this Cactus Fruit. And we're going to say that you craft like this. And go ahead and disable these corner sides. And might as well, we'll go ahead and set it to sticky and spread items. Okay? And then we're just going to attach a transfer. I forgot to grab another transfer node. I'm steadily like disassembling this entire like area down below us. Alright, so extracting from analog crafter, by the way, this can be done on any side, because the analog crafter is intelligent enough to know that, you know, these are imported items, this is my export, so if something is exporting, it's going to come from this slot, right? Alright, so we're just going to put our transfer node down right here, and you can see it's starting to get Cactus Fruit. It's great, and all this is accessible from all sides, so we'll just go ahead and put down a transfer pipe, and you can see it's starting to pipe stuff in, and it's spreading it around so that it can keep crafting, right? So now it's making more plant matter for us, which is great. And I should already have a place down here, I think, for plant matter. Yeah. Because, of course, I'm going to want to keep some plant matter on hand for making things like dirt and bone milling crops and stuff like that. And I guess, now that I think about it, one benefit to having the mechanical crafter is you can put speed upgrades in there. The analog crafter is a little bit slower, but I think it's perfectly fine for us, especially for our needs right now. So, alright, so then what I want to do is I want to attach just an item duct onto this, and we're going to put a servo onto it and say that you can ignore redstone so you can pull out items. And then what we'll do is, that's the cactus line. Let's go ahead and just bring this over. Oh wow, the transfer node doesn't actually try to connect to it, so that works out well. We'll just put it right there. Okay, so this is pulling out cactus, this is pulling out plant matter. And then what I want to do is, let's go ahead and just connect this line up. Well, actually first, let me go get some of my furnaces. We've got a bunch of them down there. I'm going to go ahead and just grab like all of them, because I want a lot of charcoal production up here, basically as fast as that cactus is running. And I've actually got it set up so we can expand the cactus if we need to. For right now, I think it's going to suit our needs very well, but it is subject to be expanded. Because, like right now, the main uses for charcoal that I'm going to have is for things like steel production, you know, making coal coke and all of that, as well as, let's see, I'll grab that one. And I'm pretty much tapped out of coal down here at the moment. But then we'll also use it for making like stone is another major part where we're going to be using it. So we'll just do 4 furnaces making charcoal for right now. And then, honestly, I'll probably leave it like this, like have charcoal being used to make more charcoal. Because once we start getting into magical crops, which is like a very long time from now, but once we do, we can start upgrading those furnaces. And I think, honestly, by the end of the game, they're going to be probably the best furnaces that we can use anyways. And let me go ahead and lock charcoal in somewhere, just so we've got a place where it can get stored. I'm not too worried about compacting it. Eventually, you know, maybe I'll change it into a compacting drawer, but alright, so charcoal is locked in there, so it does have a slot. And then what we'll do is, let's just set up our furnaces just right across here, I think. And see, like this area over to here, I could expand the cactus farm if I wanted to. So we'd have more cactus pumping through and all that good stuff. For right now, just use the amount of snab that I had. But and I'm thinking about doing like an input, like a chest, and then have the chest extract and then dump into the furnaces. That way we only have to do one filter for however many furnaces we decide to add to this. Is I think what I'm going to do. Because we don't want cactus going in there and making cactus grains. We only want plant matter going in. So yeah, let's make a filter. I'm going to need some more iron. Okay, give me just a second. I'm going to go make some more iron real quick. Okay, I got almost a stack of iron, so we're set. It really doesn't take very long or much effort at all to make iron at this point. So let's go ahead and get ourselves just some paper. Where'd you come from? And then a filter. Or, you know, I guess technically what we could do is do a drawer for plant matter. And have like a drawer buffer. That's fine. We'll do that. I'm just going to use a jungle drawer. That's fine. I don't mind having these buffers. I mean, this stuff's going to be running on a server all the time, producing tons of stuff for us. So, that will be fine. So, we'll just put our drawer down right there, and then we'll have our item ducts connect. Well, actually, let me get like a little bit of this plant matter first. And we'll just put that into that drawer. And then what we'll do is we'll just connect our item duct up. And we should say this start getting plant matter. 48. It's not the fastest process, but it's going to be enough to keep up with these furnaces. That's the main thing. And so then it's not going to start filling this up with plant matter down here until this buffer gets filled. But that way, if something was to happen, I've got a decent sized buffer up here making charcoal. Which really, it's not going to take this very long to fill that buffer. I mean, it's crafting just constant. And I imagine, yeah, see, there's plenty of cactus there. And that's barely even working through that knife. And so then what we're going to do is we're just going to have this pull out plant matter from this point. And we'll just go ahead and run this through. Oh, let me lock that in real quick. There we go. And we'll just pull this through like that. So these should start filling up with plant matter, as you can see. And they're going to fill up. I mean, this one's going to fill up, and then this one, and so on. But that's fine. I mean, this should be crafting faster than these are running. So, and if not, I mean, we can always upgrade this to mechanical crafters a little bit later on if that becomes an issue. And then let's go ahead and just make just a few more servos. We've got one, and I'm going to want a couple more of these. So I'll get some more iron nuggets. I think 3 more should do us for right now. So there we go, 3 more servos. Let me throw this like random metal into there. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to put item ducts along the bottom of this. And I should be able to reach these, yes. And we're going to say that you can extract. And the way that item ducts priority system works is that whatever the closest point that it can insert into is, that's the one it's going to prioritize. Now there used to be like dense cables, but they seem to be gone. Like dense item ducts and stuff. I'll have to look, because they either changed the name of it or it's not a thing in thermodynamics anymore. So I'm not for sure on that. But either way, it doesn't really matter, because the closest point that we want to prioritize is right here, these furnaces. So we're just going to run item ducts along the back of this. And then what we'll do is we'll just plug in, move this torch here. And then we're just going to plug these item ducts up, and I don't really want... I'll tell you what, actually we don't even need that item duct there. I really only need like 1 point connecting this up. So I'm just going to remove these. So there we go. So these item ducts will then feed back up into here, but if they don't have anywhere to go inside the furnaces, then they'll connect into this piping system. And this shouldn't be able to get like cactus and plant matter, I don't think. I'm going to let it connect up, because I don't think any of those can be used as a fuel. Okay, it looks like everything's fine right now, so. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, let me get some more item ducts real quick. And we're going to connect this up to our drawer system. Okay, and this seems to be running just fine. So let me go ahead first up and add a little bit of this charcoal to each of these furnaces just to get them up and going. Make sure that everything is working correctly. See, it's refusing to put the charcoal into the back of this. Okay, now all of a sudden it started working. So it's pumped all the charcoal into this, this furnace. It just took it a while to, I guess, recognize the connection or something. I don't know. So chances are it's probably going to prioritize this one because that's where the first connection is, and then it'll do like these two, and then this one last. So, and then the furthest connection, well, the furthest connection for right now will be the drawer system. So then what we'll do is we'll just run this down along through here and connect it into the controller slave. So then any plant matter that's left over, any charcoal that's created in excess, and then any cactus that can go in this drawer system is going to get dumped in there. It's going to be the lowest priority in this system, but that's fine. That's what we want to happen. You can see this one's already filled up with charcoal now. Is it? Yeah, it's filling up this one now. It's got 20 in that one. Okay, it's doing that one first. So really before long, these furnaces are going to be filled, and then it's going to be dumping everything from there on out into this. Except for like one every like 9 smelts. It'll dump one back into the furnace. So, okay, and then just really quickly, I would like to connect this system, this drawer controller system, up over here into our furnaces for right now. And that way I don't have to worry about making sure this is filled with charcoal so that we have, you know, power and stuff like that over here. Of course, this is all just temporary power setup, but still, I would like to have this at least automated for the time being. So we're just going to put a filter onto this. And, of course, this we can put things into the whitelist for that. So let me pop over here. And if you take a look, I actually let this run while I was editing down some footage, and we have almost 1,000 charcoal in here. So it has run through almost that. Well, actually, I think it's ran through that entire storage drawer of cactus, but there's still about 600 or something plant matter left up there. So we're just going to put this in the filter. We're going to say whitelist charcoal, and then let's go ahead and just run this up, and we'll just connect it over to here. I'm not sure how long it's going to take these item ducts to realize there's a connection all the way over there, but hopefully it doesn't take too long. And then we'll just pop our servo on and say Ignore redstone. And you will see, I mean, these item ducts are trying to connect into all this stuff, but it can't because charcoal's not allowed in those. So that's fine. It's not really an issue. Let's pop down here. Let's see if the furnace is getting charcoal yet. Not yet. I will say that I think I'm going to expand the cactus farm. Maybe do like another 4 or 8 snad. Okay, there we go. Now it's starting to fill this up with charcoal, and it's going to keep it filled from here on out. It takes a little while with these item ducts to realize there's a connection. So if you plug it up and it's not working, that's why. It seems to take about a minute and a half or so before it's like, oh, I can put that there. So, anyways, this is filling up with charcoal. This will stay filled all the time now. So, awesome. And then, eventually I can do like maybe impulse item ducts or something like that and have this kind of ran across the base and, just have different places filtered for what goes where and have it all pulled from like a controller slave or a couple controller slaves or whatever from our main network. So, alright, so give me just a second. I'm going to do a little bit of thinking as far as what kind of materials I want to make our tools out of. But honestly, I'm kind of leaning towards going Silence Gems because, we played around with Silence Gems and Sprout. It was a lot of fun, and in a lot of ways, it is better than Tinker's Constructs. You can get a lot faster tools, especially with the new Tinker's Construct stuff. I mean, unless you go with, like, crazy materials like some of the Avaridia stuff or things like that. Modded in materials, things like that. But Silence Gems, you can get, like, Insta-Break picks and stuff that do the like massive amounts, massive sizes and stuff like that, like 3x3s and everything. So I'm going to give it some thought. Honestly, I'm kind of leaning towards Silence Gems because with Silence Gems in this pack, compared to Tinker's, it's going to be a while before we can get certain things with Tinker's, like Signal 'em and things like that. I mean, honestly, I might be able to pull off like Signal 'em. We'd have to put redstone, copper, and silver. So yeah, we could do it. But silver's kind of a commodity at the moment because we don't have sugar until we get to the AA Crusher. So honestly, I think I'm going to go with Silence Gems. Plus, it's a little bit more unique and more fun, I think. And we'll do kind of like temporary tools, and then a little bit later on, we can upgrade them once we get like scanning and stuff like that, and can move to like the enriched, chaotic versions and stuff like that. So I'll be back in just a moment. Okay, I went through and figured out some stuff. I would like to make some armor as well, but I'm going to wait. I did break down some netherrack, and I've actually got a thing of stone up there. If I could get up there and clean that up. I went up there and I was breaking through, and then for some reason, like, I wasn't holding a movement key, but like I got knocked off. I think it like lagged for a second, and I glitched into a block. It felt like it kind of pushed me off, and I died. But it's no big deal. I'll get up there and clean that up. Actually, if you look, you can kind of see up there where that block is still up there, and then there's like a block or two below it that are cleared out. So I don't know what happened, but that's fine. That is a-okay. But we'll probably make armor maybe next episode, or throw some together or something. I've got to make... I did make a bunch of netherrack. It just wasn't enough to get what I was looking for. But we are going to go ahead and make some iron rods. Iron tool rods. So basically, I'm just going to need any kind of gem. I'm going to use some of this iolite. And we'll go ahead and break that down. The main thing right now is getting tools. Getting a weapon, an axe, and a pickaxe. That's like my top priorities at the moment. The rest of it, I can wait. But I actually had some ruby shards over here I could have used, but that's fine. So we'll go ahead and get our iron rods. And then I've got this stuff laid out so that we can just grab it. And basically all the gems from Silence Gems, you can hold control and look at the different stats on them. So I've tried to balance them out to get a pretty decent tool. Now there is a book with Silence Gems. I can't remember what it's called. It's Silence Gems Manual. So just a book and any kind of gem. It doesn't have to be a supercharged gem. We'll make the Silence Gems Manual. We're making basic tools, and I'm fairly familiar with this mod. They have added some new stuff, but oh, they did add this polisher, but we have to get feldspar. I'll have to look into that. But anyways, I mean, this is just an early-ish game kind of tool. So we'll go ahead and lay out our pickaxe. And the reason I chose these, Heliodor is basically the highest base harvest speed that there is. So it's going to be the fastest pickaxe tool. Gem. Black Diamond is the highest durability. And Indolokite is kind of in the middle. And you actually get more benefit if you use at least 3 different types of gems. You get a little bit of a boost to them. Now, there's a lot of ways to boost these even further, like making the supercharged as well as scanning them with the material grader, but this takes enriched chaos essence. I only have 3 chaos essence to date. Like, it's not very common to get that stuff. Maybe once we get this stuff automated, we'll be able to get some, come across this stuff a little bit faster. But the placement that you use on here, it does matter. I'm going to go with, I think, this one, like black, yellow, green. And you can see the properties of it. It's going to have a durability of 674, harvest level of diamond, which we can actually boost that up, and we will. It'll have a base harvest speed of 12.27 and a charge speed of 1.53. Charge speed's not going to matter for right now until we get into supercharged stuff, so that's fine. So let's go ahead and we're going to take that. And the nice thing about Silence Gems tools is you can repair them on the fly just by throwing them and 1 gem of any kind into a crafting table, and it repairs them. So that's one thing I think it'll be better for starting out anyways than Tinkers. And then let's go ahead and make an axe. It's the same materials that I'm using that I used on the pickaxe. And I think we'll go pretty much the same way. I'm going to go black, yellow, green, like that. And so we've got pretty much the exact same stats on this one. It does have melee damage and melee damage listed on there, so 8.45 melee damage on this. That's fine. Let's go ahead and grab that. And then lastly, we'll go ahead and grab our sword as well. And the sword, I'm using Malachite, which is actually the fastest attack speed, 130% attack speed. And then I'm using Onyx, which is the highest melee damage base, which is 7. Now, these do get boosted up a lot if you look at Supercharged. For example, if you look at Supercharged Ruby compared to Standard Ruby. Standard Ruby has a base harvest speed of 8. Melee damage is 6, for example. Supercharged base harvest speed of 12. Melee damage of 9. So these do get much stronger. Like Supercharged Onyx, melee damage of 10. So down the road we will upgrade these a bit more. So we'll just go ahead and put these together, and actually I think I like it like this with the black handle. But you can change this by adding gems to it after you've created it. You can change the way it looks. But you can see this has a melee damage of 8.91. Durability of only 172. It does not have great durability at all. But that's okay. Because like I said, we can repair these on the fly. So I'm going to go with it. I prefer the katanas, but you can't make katanas until you get to supercharged. Katanas have to be made out of supercharged gems. So, alright. And then let's go ahead and make some tip upgrades as well. We're going to have to make some of these upgrade bases. It's just flint, wood, and sticks. Let me go grab that stuff real quick. I need to clean up all that like stone dust and netherrack dust. There's a chance you'll get ores out of it. It's a very slim chance. But there is a chance. But I'm kind of just waiting until we get it automated. Like, I just dread going through all of those. Oh, by the way, one thing I forgot to show you guys that I added. Just one very, very minor thing. I did test it. And fluid ducts can move creosote without any kind of issue. I do need to make another drum, but ooh, I like that mine speed so much more. And if you take a look at these, I mean, diamond and emerald are the top tiers, but it kind of depends on what you want. Like, emerald has double the durability increase, so 1024, but you'll notice melee damage is only +1, whereas diamond is a durability of +512, has higher melee damage. Now, they both give +2 to harvest speed, and diamond raises harvest level to 3 if it's lower than that, where emerald only raises it to 2. So, I mean, these only have a harvest level of 2. So, I mean, I could use the diamond to upgrade that and get more, get a higher harvest level. For example, this one would be able to harvest at a level 3 then. So, I think that's what we'll do. I think down here, I believe I only have 1 diamond left. I did turn the rest of them into, I cleaned them and put them up there. So, I mean, I could go up there and grab one, but I'll just use this one. That's fine. So, we'll combine diamond with the upgrade base, get our diamond tipped upgrade, and then I'm going to put that, I think, on the axe, on the pickaxe. So, you can see it's diamond tipped. It's now a harvest level of obsidian, and 14.27 harvest speed instead of the 12. And the durability jumps up to 1186. The sword, you could get more damage if you go with the diamond upgrade. I'm going to go with emerald, and that's simply due to the fact that the durability on this is really really dinky. And I would rather get the extra durability from the emerald because honestly, I mean, the attack damage is high enough. It's already well stronger than a diamond sword. So the attack damage is fine enough right now to suit me for an early game weapon. So I'm going to go with that extra durability jump. So now it'll have 1,196 durability instead of that dinky 172. So I will definitely take that. And the axe, I'm going to go with durability on the axe. And that's due to the fact that harvest level doesn't really matter so much on this axe. I mean, diamond harvest level is still going to be able to harvest like any tree. So, I mean, I can't think of anything off the top of my head that I would need at the moment a higher harvest level on this axe for. So durability is a lot better because I'm going to be vein mining big trees and stuff like that with this. So, and then we could also do a little bit of enchanting. Now I'm not going to go. I will say I'm not going to go crazy with enchanting at the moment on these things because, I mean, these are beginning tools. But I wouldn't mind getting like sharpness on our sword. So to make these enchantment tokens, just gold, lapis, and then a little bit of chaos essence. So let me grab this. I was thinking about putting silk touch on my pick, but I don't have enough violet sapphire. Like I need one more. Violet sapphire is fairly rare and it only comes from netherrack. So I'm going to hold out on that because it won't be too much longer really before we upgrade all of these anyways. You know, it's basically just dependent. Oh, that's actually my last bit of gold there. That's fine. Grab that. And honestly, I think we've got... Let's see, we're going to need 25 flint if we go all the way up on sharpness. But it's not going to be too much longer before we get into supercharged tools and stuff like that, because it's really just a process of getting a lot of chaos essence, which is going to happen naturally once we upgrade and have this stuff running automatically, right? All this breaking and cleaning and all that mess. Once that's automatic, I mean, we're going to have so many of these gems, it's not going to matter. And so much chaos coming in and stuff like that, I imagine. So let's see, we're going to need like 10 rubies if we wanted to go full on sharpness on this. Which I'm going to go full on sharpness because, you know, I sacrificed damage by taking the emerald upgrade. Well, not really sacrifice damage, but I didn't get as much damage as I could have gotten when I took that that emerald upgrade over the diamond one, which is fine. But if we have sharpness 5 on there, I mean, honestly, I think this will be like one-shotting blazes. I'm fairly certain. So let's go ahead and craft 5 sharpness 1 enchantment tokens. And then what does it take to get looting? It's just some turquoise and emerald. Yeah, we're going to go for looting 3. Okay, I actually don't have enough turquoise for looting 3. I have enough for looting 2, so we're going to go with looting 2 for the time being. Then I can always upgrade it later on. Now, there is an enchantability stat as well, whenever you go to create your weapons. I didn't worry too much about enchantability on these because I'm not going to go crazy enchanting them because they're such basic, basic tools that we'll replace before too long. So I was just kind of like, whatever. But I will say that later on it'll become a little bit more important when we start really decking out weapons and stuff like that. So, alright, there's 2, looting 2. I will probably eventually put efficiency on my tools and stuff like that, but efficiency requires barrel and glowstone, and the only reason I'm waiting on that is because we don't have a ton of barrel. I've got 7. I might eventually put efficiency on this pick, but honestly, it's pretty quick right now. Like, for example, there you go. It's a major upgrade compared to what I was using. So, but our sword, all we have to do to put these enchantment tokens on here is just put them in a crafting table with the sword. And you can see down there it says Sharpness 5. And we're going to go ahead and put looting on this as well. Sharpness 5, looting 2. And we can add more enchantments to this at any time. Just throw it back in there and put more enchantment tokens on there. But the nice thing about going with silence, and silence gems, I mean, that stuff can be applied to other tools as well. But having silence gems and using it is going to make enchanting at the very beginning a whole lot easier, because really it's all just dependent mainly on gems. And we're going to be automating gems before long. And actually, I was just looking, and flight is super cheap through silence gems. Like, we have to get into enriched chaos, which is like that. I mean, it's semi-expensive, and then there's this chaos essence here, and then plumes, which all this stuff, I mean, it's fairly cheap to get, and you can get a chaos room for flight and put it onto one of these. We'll probably get into that in the next few episodes, because having flight would be pretty cool, right? Like, because most of the flight in this pack is very later game. But Silence Gems, for some reason, is pretty early in. So, I have no qualms with that. Especially for building and stuff, it would be very, very handy. Okay, but let's go ahead and just really quickly make some basic armor. I'm just going to go with iron, and that's simply due to the fact that I don't have the stuff to make the Silence Gems armor that I want just yet, and iron is cheap and really easy to make more. And there we go. Suit up. And I've actually got, I think down there I've got almost a stack of iron dust too. So, but I will say that we're still going to get into Tinker's Constructs a little bit later on, because I feel like Tinker's Construct still has the stronger ranged weaponry. But I do have to check, because I mean, there's been some updates and some changes to Silence Gems, you know, since the last time I messed with it. Which, I mean, really wasn't that long ago, but this is 1.12, or that was 1.10. And I know there's been some fairly large updates and stuff to Silence Gems since that, you know, that version. I am going to do a little bit of testing with the ranged weaponry and the magic and stuff like that, and just see how it stacks up. But honestly, after we get gems automated, and we have Chaos Essence and stuff coming in, we're going to immediately start messing with the runes, because I mean, we could get flight, we could get magnet, we could get a lot of really useful things for us fairly easily that way. I mean, I was surprised flight was so cheap. It's crazy cheap on here. So we will definitely be getting into that before too long. And I'm actually curious, can I even make an anvil at the moment? I'm not for sure. It takes steel and block of steel, but I could pull it off. It's kind of expensive, but I just wonder, can enchantment tokens be added to this? Because I know most, like, other mods, tools, and stuff, you can add enchantment tokens to them. And I'm kind of curious, because, I mean, if I could add enchantments to a grinder, I could make, like, say, a compressed diamond rock grinder. Of course, I guess it's not going to matter too much before long, but... Okay, these can be added to the rock grinders. So, I don't know, we might, maybe once we get gems automated, and more gems are kind of like a dime a dozen, adding, say, like Fortune 3 and Efficiency 3, I mean Efficiency 5, and, you know, maybe Unbreaking to a diamond rock grinder would be useful. I mean, it would probably last a very long time, and diamond at that point wouldn't really be an issue, and we get better output from that Fortune 3, so we may actually see about enchanting those as well. And I mean, it wouldn't be any issue at all to set up automation so that it crafts those enchantment tokens, and it gets them in there, and then enchants the rock grinders, and crafts the rock grinders, enchants the rock grinders, and have this big setup where they get enchanted, then they get sent over to our mechanical users, and then the stuff gets broken down. You know, at least until we get, like, the auto rock grinders and stuff like that, that could be an option as well. But anyways, I know it's about wrapping up points, so I am going to end it out here. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode, and if you did, as always, be sure and hit that like button, and go ahead and subscribe if you're not already, to stay up to date with when new videos come out. And I appreciate you guys joining me and everything, and I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope to see you guys next time. So until then, as always, do take care, stay safe, and I will see you guys then.